The Sparrow and the Grain of Rice. One day, a little sparrow named Sammy was hopping around in a field looking for food when suddenly he saw something really shiny in the distance. As he got closer, he realized it was a tiny grain of rice. It had fallen from a farmer's bag and was now sitting all alone in the middle of the field. Sammy thought to himself, "What a lucky find this is. I'm going to keep this grain all to myself." So he did. He took the rice back to his nest and tucked it under his feathers, puffing out his chest proudly. Just then, another sparrow flew by and saw Sammy with the rice. "Hey, what's that you have there?" he asked. "It's mine," said Sammy. "I found it, so it's mine all to myself." The other sparrow was quite surprised to hear this. "But Sammy, you can't be selfish. You can't just take things that don't belong to you and then say they were yours." Sammy just ignored him and snuggled up with his precious grain of rice. After a while, the other sparrow flew away, shaking his head at Sammy's behavior. But soon after, something very unexpected happened. Suddenly, a strong wind started to blow across the field. It picked up the grain of rice that Sammy was holding onto and dropped it right out of his nest. Sammy panicked. He flapped his wings and tried to grab onto the rice as it floated further and further away. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get a grip on it. And before he knew it, the wind had carried the rice far, far away. As the wind continued to blow, it brought with it even more grains of rice. Hundreds and hundreds of them. They swirled and twirled in the air like a magical shower of shimmering beads. The wind dropped the rice all over the field, creating a small mountain of grains near Sammy's empty nest. Sammy watched in amazement as all this happened. At first, he had been so focused on keeping his one little grain of rice safe that he hadn't noticed the true source of luck, the wind. And now, because of the wind, instead of having nothing, he was surrounded by a whole bunch of rice. Sammy realized that he could have shared the rice with the other sparrows and still had plenty to eat himself. Feeling bad for being selfish, Sammy quickly flew down to find the other sparrow. He wanted to apologize and ask if he could share the rice with him. But when he arrived, the other sparrow was already there pecking at the rice. Sammy hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to say. But then the other sparrow looked up and saw Sammy. "Hey, come and see what the wind has brought," he said with a smile. "There's enough rice here for everyone." And indeed there was. From that day on, Sammy and the other sparrows shared all of the rice, and they were never selfish or greedy again. In fact, Sammy became known throughout the sparrow community as the luckiest bird in the whole wide world because he was always willing to share. And as a result, he received twice as much joy and twice as much luck as he would have if he had been selfish. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time.